when we could not speak. You were not here. You were not at these community boards when we were not even allowed to show up. When we were stopped from coming into this office.
That's something wrong.
When we
That's
were
something
not
bad.
allowed to stop into this office, and when we did, we got arrested. You were not here. You were not here.
Yeah.
All right then. So we paved the way for this to happen. I paved the way for this to happen. The community paved the way for this to happen. And then you come in and then you say, what? That we don't have rights? That we don't have the right to speak?
I'm not saying that.
All right then. So let's, back up a little bit. Be here
I'm
a little
literally
while.
behind
You just got
okay.
here. You just got here. Did you just get here?
I was.
All things
Can we get along here?
Do we need to, do we wanna compare resumes? Can we, can we fill it out and let's,
Just have like this, and then you come in and then tell us that we don't have the right to.
I'd love
Can I
to get
respectfully
started
say something?
with this meeting.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I've been in the community, this is my, I have to count how old I am, 20th something year in this neighborhood, and I'm still new. So when she says, you're still new, you're still new. I am still new.
There you
Well,
go.
that's your
There you
opinion.
go.
That's your opinion.
That
What
is
new
your-
is, whatever
New
new
is.
is, that's your opinion.
It's still new.
That's your
Because you may
opinion.
walk around here all day long and think that you know something, but until you're in the elbow in, you're still new. I'm still
Well,
new.
I've been in the elbow in
I know,
for
I
the
know.
last decade.
I know.
I'm not new.
Nobody's
I
questioning
am.
that.
I'm not new.
We're all still learning, myself included.
Yes, indeed. Always.
Yeah, we don't need a quorum to start this meeting.
We don't need that.
No, we don't. Okay, we're gonna get started.
Yes, please.
Great. It's a pleasure to have you here. We're gonna formally get started. I appreciate everyone who's here, both on the board and our public members as well. I look forward to moving us through this meeting. My name is Primo Lasana. I'm the first vice chair at Brooklyn Community Board 9. Today's executive committee meeting will set the agenda for our coming meeting, which is going to take place this Thursday, the 18th. Dante, can you confirm the location of which will
It'll be at the
middle?
Armory.
Oh, the Armory.
It'll be at the
Okay.
Armory.
The Bedford.
Yeah.
Why was it changed from the fourth Tuesday?
Because of holidays. Passover's next week.
Passover.
Passover's all next
Yeah.
week.
Oh, that's.
You know,
Yeah.
schools
Yeah.
close next week for like
Yeah.
7 days straight, 7
Oh,
working days. It's wild.
yeah.
Sober,
It's
all
Monday,
these
the entire week, and then Monday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's a lot of closures coming up.
Yep.
Okay, and so that's why we're now at 9400 Empire?
So, the precinct council got 400.
Oh, yeah, on the
Yeah,
18th.
That's the
That's the
Thursday.
Thursday.
That's the
Yeah, that was
And, cause I don't know if how many people are aware that it's over there. Did you send out a separate blast to let people know that the location's changed?
it was in the regular blast, but I can definitely send out a separate one. so
Please,
people know.
because I get the blast and I'm just hearing about it right
Yeah,
now.
same here. Let's make sure that we send an update for the location, because most people have gotten used to it being at 61 over the course of this year. So that's a little bit of a shift, because it's only our second meeting, I believe, of the year that's taking place at the Armory. Okay, so this is a welcome. It's happening. We're gonna move through our agenda. Next, we'll do a committee chair check-in. Then we'll do an administrative check-in with Dante. Our chair, Fred Baptiste, could not be here because he is traveling today. So we are going to skip the chairman check-in. Then we will set the agenda for the general board meeting, which again will happen on April 18th, 2024. Dante, just for the record, can you name the time that the meeting will start?
The general board meetings, it will start at 7 p.m.
Okay, the general board meeting on Thursday will start at 7 p.m. and it will be at the Armory in Bedford. Then we can discuss other business, and then we will adjourn. So, with that, we're gonna move into the committee chair check-in. So, we have some members of committees present with us tonight. I'll start off with Ms. Raptopoulos.
Sure.
Great. So, just naming Ms. Raps, could you just name what committee you're the chair of?
The Economic Development.
Great. Okay.
So we've been working on a business owner breakfast, which we pushed back to June because we weren't ready, but now we're on track. We have flyers.
Great.
It's happening.
Nice.
At Houston Stubble on Nostrand Avenue. They gave us their location to use, which is great because hopefully it'll be a nice day. We can be inside and outside. hopefully we get a lot of RSVPs. We just got these printed today, so we have a map and we have mapped out basically into fifths the business districts, and we're gonna hit the ground running, bringing these through, and also capturing names, addresses, emails, phone numbers. And depending on how many people we get to RSVP, hopefully this is the first of many events. So we voted in our meeting, and we want to vote at the meeting on Thursday that this is good to go. Basically, the event is everybody gets there, mingle for about 20 minutes. The community board introduces ourselves, what we can help people with, who we are, what the district map is, just familiarizing everybody. And then hopefully there's a lot of people there, and people can go around the room and give their elevator pitch about who their business is, where their business is located, just, you know, couple minutes. And then we have some electeds that will be there. I know Rita Joseph will be there. Hopefully we can get Crystal Hudson there and Cunningham there. And then we have a couple resource people, somebody from the organization that's trying to start up the a merchants association over on Utica, someone from the Chamber of Commerce, basically just introducing what they're trying to get happening so people can just like understand what's going on around here, what other people are doing, and hopefully it's like the first of many events. Yeah, I think that's everything.
Great, thank you. So we're gonna add a voting item to the agenda,
Yes.
which will be around approving your event,
Yes.
essentially, so that the flyers can begin to be distributed, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're approving an event on June 4th, which will be run by the Economic Development Committee.
Yep.
And the purpose is a business owner breakfast. That's
Yes.
kind of the title of the
And we
event.
would also like $300.
We would also like $300. So, Ms. Treasurer, that's probably something that will kick to you and to the
sent me
district
that, right?
manager.
Yes, I did that.
So there is, you've submitted a form.
Yes, I have.
Great, okay, we're following rules, we're doing stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so Dante needs to respond to you. Do you think that you can respond before the 18th?
Thursday?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great.
I know it's in my inbox, I just.
No, all good. I just sent it today.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Your idea of like collecting information from
Yeah.
businesses is to create like a business directory
Yeah.
in our area.
Yeah.
And to build
So,
relationships. and-
Yeah, so when the holiday season comes, we
Oh.
have this already. Yeah. Start to categorize it, and continue to communicate with people, because we wanna do more things.
Thank you for your report.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Any questions from the public, the audience? No? Okay. Oh,
No,
question.
no questions, but I'll give you my email after this, and if you want, I'm happy to promote it on my blog.
Cool, great, thanks.
Cool.
What's your block?
Clarkson Avenue,
Okay.
between Flatbush and Bedford.
Oh, cool. Great.
Neighbors?
It's on the border.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on the north side.
On the right
No.
side.
Okay.
Great,
Great.
thanks.
Let's keep it moving, through committees. Yeah, I guess Ethan, do you wanna, represent on the, transportation committee?
Sure. Last meeting we spent a good chunk of it, sorting costs out for our community fair, exhibit basically. And it will come up to around $300, probably not.
Sorry, can you run that back? What will cost $300?
Our community fair.
Community fair,
Yeah.
okay. And what are some of the cost drivers there?
We intend to buy about 100 to 200 reflectors for like bike helmets and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Something we get with BC. And we also intend to have, some boards, some maps, and easels. to, give people ideas of how we can improve the district, how we can, and just highlight like problem areas and different ways where, the district might be currently lacking, so people can have their input placed on these things. Right? That's a general idea behind that. And for other things, voting items apart from that, we have 3 resolutions currently passed already, and we're just waiting to move to the federal board. The 3 of those are mainly around bike infrastructure. So the first one is about extending the Empire Avenue bike road west towards Ocean and towards the park.
I'm gonna ask you to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Just cause I gotta jot these down and make sure
Okay.
I have noted them, and
Yeah.
Linda, I'm sure, it's the same, so, okay, so the first resolution that you would
Yeah.
like to have voted on is, go for it.
Yeah, so extend the Empire Avenue bike road west towards Ocean Avenue and to link into Prospect Park.
Extension of Empire
Yeah.
Avenue bike lane,
Currently ends up Bedford, and we're looking to get it to go a little further west, so.
It's not on Bedford, there's no bike lane on Empire Boulevard.
Yeah, there has been for years now. It's written on the street, there are the lines and the bike chevrons and all those things.
but it goes, so you're saying that it starts near the park and goes, or are you
In
saying that it
In
starts?
its
on the
current
other
form, it
side?
begins at Bedford and goes east towards Utica.
Goes east towards you.
It stops at Bedford, and it doesn't link west towards the park, where most bikers tend to.
Okay, so it stops before the park.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
there
stops
is
on
another-
Bedford,
there's
and
another
it
lane on
doesn't go
Bedford.
from Bedford towards the park.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, understood.
The second one is, it's a bit of an existing plan that's already been kind of made, but just no action been taken on that. It's a plan of support for the Prospect Park, park side bike lane on 107 Avenue. So, it wouldn't leave bikers on a bit of a dead end coming down Flatbush and going towards the park. It would continue west on Ocean Avenue down, southbound. I think it would be a 2-way bike lane, I believe.
Parkside is coming, is going north-south?
Yeah, so,
No.
not the street, not the
Yeah,
avenue,
yeah, I'm like, what is
not
that?
the avenue, the bike lane is on the side of the park.
Oh,
Kinda like Parkside, yeah, like.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought
so
you
we're
said
from
Parkside.
kinda
I was
like-
like,
yeah,
okay, what are you
right,
saying?
not Parkside
Okay,
Avenue.
so there's a bike
Yeah.
lane that goes along the park, starting, where are we talking, on Washington?
So, yeah, there's currently a plan for a bike lane, I think there's gonna be able to see you about that.
Oh, you're saying it cuts off, cause it goes from Washington and it cuts off on Eastern Park.
It's on Flatbush Avenue, that,
There's one on Flatbush, but there's also
Yeah.
one on Washington.
there, yeah, there's that one too.
So Flatbush.
Flatbush cuts off, and there's a plan to extend it alongside.
Can we just have a map?
I'm looking at that map right
I mean,
there.
because this doesn't make
There
any
is a
sense,
map.
if you could just sit here and show us what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Sure. As it stands right now, there's a bike lane here, it's protected, it stops right here.
What?
That
The
goes
plan-
to the park?
Huh?
It runs through the park?
Yeah, it's a gray area because it's not.
Yeah, it was
actually
recently
park.
built a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They did a lot of construction on it.
Mhm.
And the plan is simply to extend it down. It would cut into the park a bit because Ocean Avenue, this is a pretty narrow street, Ocean Avenue here.
Mhm.
It's not like Park Slopes, Prospect Park West,
Yeah.
and that's also a one-way street, so
It
it
is
doesn't have
very-
the space to accommodate an in-street bike lane. So we're assuming this would cut into the park and run down alongside Ocean Avenue.
It's also 2 lanes, it's 4 lanes of traffic going north-south, right, on Ocean?
Ocean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And because of that, they don't have enough space currently to have a bike lane.
Right.
You wanna put a bike lane going south only or going north as well?
It's a plan's already been, the plan's been made,
So we're just voting in support of it.
essentially, yeah.
Voting in
Because it's kind
support
of
of
been
the
languishing
resolution that says.
for some reason, so we're essentially saying that
Okay,
Since it's important.
understood. Can I ask a clarifying question, which
Yes.
is, since it's been approved, what is the value of us, like, offering a point of support and resolution? Is it to speed it along?
speed it up.
Okay.
And this is the Parks Department.
I think it would put the Parks and DOT kind of, collaboration.
Yeah.
And what is the Park and Service?
It's already been approved.
The Prospect
It's
Park
already been-
Alliance,
It's already been greenlit.
but do they have a statement, I guess is just Blake's question.
Not recently.
Okay, might be
And where
helpful.
was this other thing that you pointed to?
Yeah, the Empire Boulevard bike lane, Eastern Bike Lane currently ends here. It continues all along, but it stops here. And a lot of the folks who need it are here. So we're looking to continue this here, and that way they can at least link up and down Flatbush Avenue, whether it's another bike lane or not.
And down Ocean as well.
Yeah. A lot of our bike lanes end when our district starts. Some of them end pretty far up. Kingston,
That's true.
Brooklyn,
That's
and
true
right
for the
here.
Washington Avenue bike lane for
Yeah,
sure.
Washington Avenue bike lanes, Kingston and Brooklyn as well.
Mhm.
And there are others.
So ultimately, like, we're beginning a process of trying to extend bike lanes through our district.
Yeah, just to at least get us up to par with the level of connectedness around the city, because we are severely lacking. We're playing catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That has been for years,
Mhm.
even when I was doing
Been underserved for a while.
transportation.
What about Washington Avenue?
No, we're just a bike lane. I think we-
Exactly, because I've never seen a bike lane on Washington.
No, it's not, it's a,
There's a bike lane going north of Eastern Parkway.
Yeah.
Not on Washington Avenue.
There is, I ride it there all the
I
time.
can show it
North
to you
of
if you
Eastern.
like.
there is a lane,
On
but it's not
NCBA.
like,
A dedicated lane.
right, like spread out,
It's a
because
Chevrolet,
it's
so.
not,
I mean, there's paint
Street's not
lines
wide
and
enough.
symbols that have bikers
Yeah,
in
what's
them.
right, the
You
streets
know.
are not wide enough for it.
But yes, I agree, the streets are not wide enough for it, and it's interrupted constantly. People double park in that bike
Yes.
lane all the time.
Because
Like,
we have a
it
lot of
doesn't feel like a
delivery.
bike lane.
Yeah, and we have botanical gardens there, so, people prefer not to go up that lane, but, you have them, coming at times where it's not.
There's an Avenue Park Place. There's a bike lane right here. This is like
Yeah, I'm not talking about CPA, I'm talking about
Yeah.
right. That's the problem. There isn't a bike lane there now.
Right, that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. We're all in
You're
agreement.
saying that you wanna put one there.
Not Washington now.
Not right now.
Not right.
So
Not right now.
what is the plan?
I'm sorry,
So
what do you mean not right now?
So there are 3 proposals on the table, right? So they're moving through resolutions to support the entry of bike lanes into our district. They are so far supporting one on Empire and one that goes,
hey,
connects
you know,
Flatbush to Ocean. And then we have yet to hear the third one. I don't think that they can make 100 resolutions in each meeting, but it seems like they are beginning the process. We haven't yet gotten to Washington, but once they're able to review that, I'm sure a conversation from that is forthcoming.
But why are we reviewing Washington?
No, we're not. Primo made a comment on Washington Avenue when he was saying other bike lanes outside of our district basically die at our borders. They end. And he was saying Washington is one of those. And he's right, because it is.
Washington is not one of those.
There's a bike lane on Washington Avenue above Eastern Parkway.
But not,
Oh, okay,
but
It's
so
not
not
south.
yeah, there is a bike lane there.
It's
So
semi
I
for
thought-
about 2 blocks, but it becomes a conventional full bike lane for a Park Place.
Right, because there's more room.
Yes.
I just don't wanna hear Washington Avenue be disturbed because it's always disturbed. If it's not movies, there's the running, there's activity with, botanical gardens, enough. Enough.
And if you already have a bike lane coming down Franklin Avenue, Flatbush Avenue, I don't know why you need
There's
one
no
of
bike
those.
lane.
Because people don't move on only one street. People move on multiple
We
streets.
understand that, but we don't wanna have bike lanes all over the place just because people don't move.
But
I'm
they're gonna-
I'm a biker, so I know. There's no reason why we have to keep constantly putting bike lanes in that take up space, that just cause more traffic, unless you have the amount of people that would do that. You guys never talk about the amount of people who actually need, what's the need for that? It just seems like,
Miss
well, that's just my
Ms. Boyd, can I
position.
just for folks, right, we're here to approve an agenda, not argue the point as to whether the resolutions are valid or not. If you wanna comment on them in the general board meeting, that's a good space to do it. If you want to go to the committee meetings, that's a good place to have this conversation. Right now, we're trying to approve an agenda.
Right, but I'm just trying to make sense, and also, I'm at our meetings, I just
Yeah.
didn't wanna interject something new.
No, that's fair.
This is why I was asking.
I'm just trying to keep us on
You want more
schedule.
context, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. All of it's fair. I just also wanna keep us on track so we can get through our agenda. Can we talk about number 3?
The third one, yeah, it's continuing those other bike lanes like Kingston and Brooklyn Avenue.
Right, okay.
The bike lanes that are on Kingston and Brooklyn, they
Right.
also end at our borders, these two. And these 2 streets link down into Wingate Park, which is also a popular biking spot. So cars tend to drive pretty fast
These are
on
for
these streets.
Kingston Avenue and which avenue?
Brooklyn.
And Brooklyn Avenue, and they end at Eastern Parkway, and we are voting to extend them from Eastern Parkway to where?
To Wingate Park area.
I just have a question. Did anybody bother to ask the community about these resolutions? Did you go out there and ask people, let's say on Kingston Avenue, if they want to have it? And, you know, did you do any canvassing of the neighborhood to see if people support the zone?
Some, yes.
And how did you do that?
Door to door.
You have a petition with that sign?
No.
So how did you do that?
Well, me personally, I did go to people in
And did you get someone to sign it, to say yes, you agree with it? That's normally how that happens. You get a petition, you ask them to sign it, and then you can prove that you spoke to them and that they're in agreement with it.
I did not make the petition.
It sounds like maybe that's a suggestion that you're making for the future, Ms. Boyd.
I would suggest.
There we go. Let's
Because,
we
you
we
know,
can frame this constructively,
you
which
take-
is.
you know, you're gonna get yourself into a lot of
Right.
trouble putting
Yeah.
bike lanes, and you didn't ask the community
Yeah.
whether or not
I
they
think she's
want
making
that.
a suggestion that could be helpful
I will,
to
I will
standing up.
help you broker
Yeah.
that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I
That's-
need to be
we all
out there
agree. I
canvassing,
think-
getting people to sign the
Mhm.
petition saying, yes, they support that, because you will have a lot of help when you find out a bike lane is coming and they did not.
That makes sense to me, Ms. Boyd, and is a helpful suggestion. Thank you. Those are all three of the resolutions.
Yeah, those are all.
Great. Thank you for your committee's work. Appreciate it. I think from my perspective, it helps bring a higher level of safety to bike riders who are, you know, navigating our community, people who are coming back home to this community. And so that is something that is helpful and appreciated, and thinking about making sure that this community receives the same resources that other communities have been vying for a long time. And I think that the point that Ms. Boyd is making is well taken, which is we can put some proof in place for the conversations that we're having. Okay? Cool. Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Moving along to our next committee, Debbie, would you mind?
okay.
Environmental protection? Is
Yes,
that
good
right?
evening. So we had a scheduled meeting for April 4th, however, the meeting was not able to happen because we did not have a forum to, you know, make some of the decisions that we had on the agenda. So we will be revisiting the same agenda in May.
Okay. So you didn't have a quorum, so pause, and you're gonna revisit it.
Yes, when everyone hopefully is on board. There was
Okay.
one emergency, another person was away traveling, so.
Sounds like there were some excused absences, these people communicated with you in this instance?
Well, there were two absences and
Mhm.
myself and the other person, so it was like split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so, I'd say, you know, let us know, let the board office know if there's anybody who's of concern and has been absent a number of times.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
you know, this process of
Mhm.
rebalancing and removing members from committees where necessary so that we can have a quorum, so we can get our
Mhm.
business done. I would just double down on that for anybody and everybody. Okay, up next, let's see, do we have, representatives from other committees? Anybody wanna go next? Welcome to the meeting. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what happened in your committee?
So I just need you to laugh at me right now.
Okay.
I am sitting home and I'm online. And I'm just, what happened? No meeting? And I keep going through my email.
Oh, in
and
person.
it's a recurring meeting and I'm sitting there. They will let you in soon. I said, it's already 7:05.
Because you're clicking on an old,
No, I forgot it was in person.
no, but I'm saying you're clicking on an old,
So
thing.
I am so sorry, so sorry.
Oh, welcome.
But you're here with us now.
I'm here now. We've been meeting, last month we didn't meet. We had to cancel the meeting because of reasons. But previously we met and we've been discussing our mental health forum, which will be in June. We did schedule it for May 41st, but I'll be traveling, so we have to move it to June. It will be held at the at Dumpstead Hospital and auditorium, which will be the week of the 9th in June.
Okay, so do you have a date yet? Or-
Most likely the 10th of June, 10th of June.
So you don't need us to vote yet on this
No.
because there is no
No,
date
no,
confirmed
we're
yet?
not voting.
Just making sure that it's not a voting.
Yeah,
item.
so
Thank
we're
you.
not voting on it as yet, so we're looking from 10 to 1. So in the morning, we'll be discussing, we have mental health persons and we have social workers. In the afternoon, we'll be more or less having a speaker, and we'll be dealing with the fifth-based community. In the morning, we'll be dealing with people in general in the community. When it comes to mental health, we'll also have
Thank you.
social, we have a private room.
Thank you.
So what if anyone during the discussion, because then it will be an interactive forum, where persons will be asking questions, we'll be having lunch as well, and it will be 2 parts for this year. In September, we will be focusing on youth. And so we'll have other persons coming and have on stuff for them to do, because how kids really get a little bit distracted after a while. So we will have different games and different stuff for them, interactive things for them to do in September as well. So, and then we'll be looking at Senior Spa Day in August. Not voting item as yet. It will be the T building, Kings County Hospital. So last year we did it, but it really messes up. But the seniors who came, they were very happy, and they asked me, "Are you doing it next month?" I said, "No, next year." So we had the pedicure done, they had massage, they had the hair done, they had laughing yoga, movie, popcorn, and it was bingo and everything, and then lunch was provided for them. Jackie Love, she provided lunch through Elite Learners. They provided lunch, 150 lunch for them. So, and the hospital we gave them gifts, so they had persons who won the bingos, they got gifts and everything. So had a pretty good time. So we're looking to do the same thing in August this year as well.
Great, sounds like a productive meeting, and it sounds like we have some good fairs and resources coming to the community in June and later in the summer. So thank you, and no voting items as of now,
Not
probably at the next meeting.
Probably at the next meeting.
Okay, any questions from folks in the room? Sounds good, okay. All right, let's keep it moving then. So, I believe we've had conversations with all the committee chairs who are in the room. So, the last one is Sol, the education committee is not here, so Linda is going to represent the education committee as a member of that committee. She's just pulling up her notes, so bear with her.
Don't you have, I'm sorry, excuse me, but aren't you also?
Oh, I can,
reporting?
yeah, you're totally right, yeah. I'll give a report on the public safety.
All right,
Thank you for that reminder.
her notes are taking a little bit, so I can give you a nutshell.
Mhm.
At our last meeting last week, there was one project that we are moving on. It was the cleanup project for Earth Day on April 27th. We have mapped up the area where we start Eastern Parkway down to Empire Boulevard and 2 blocks over, right? So we go up and down streets and we go all end up on Franklin and Empire, right by McDonald's.
So you're coming down Washington?
Eastern Parkway,
Uh-huh.
not Washington.
Eastern Parkway, Nostrand, all the way down
No,
to.
Down to
Yes,
Nostrand?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and then coming down.
Right, and then, no, I'm going, when we go Eastern Parkway, right here, all the way
All
down
the
to
way down
Empire
to-
Boulevard. All the way down to,
Wait, but what are you coming down to get to Empire?
Yeah, how are you
Huh?
getting down?
right down Nostrand,
Straight down.
Okay, so
straight
no,
down
Nostrand.
Nostrand, so it's like
So
a block.
you're going across Eastern Park, you're starting at Eastern Parkway?
Yes.
She started
And
on
Nostrand.
Eastern Parkway and
In
Nostrand.
Nostrand.
Oh, okay,
And
and
coming
you're going
down.
straight
Down
down
Nostrand,
Nostrand.
Yeah.
Empire.
Empire, and then
Yes.
go down Empire to Washington,
Yeah,
Then going across.
Right,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, got it.
and then another set will come from Eastern Parkway down to Franklin.
Franklin.
Down
Okay.
Franklin?
yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
So because we're gonna be crisscrossing, so it's 2 blocks, Franklin and Rogers and.
I appreciate you mapping that
Yes.
out for
Thank
us
you.
this morning.
I'm not putting out in my mind.
I'm a visual person.
No,
I
somebody's
gotta
gotta
see
do
it.
it. No, that's true.
This is a visual as well.
Right.
Oh, that's really nice.
Okay,
So that will be our project for Earth Day, April 27th. We've got flyers and I think Dorothy, I'm not sure. We begin at 10 o'clock.
April 7th.
Yes.
This is something that we voted on at the last
Yes,
meeting?
yes,
So we're
yes,
already, it
yes.
doesn't
We
need to
voted
be
on it,
voted
it's just
on.
that we had to bring it back
Right.
because we have to change the date. Right, so I'm updating you with it, so that's it. But you're all invited to come help us, so I'm telling you because I need you to come.
And you're starting the points.
Yes, we will all meet at Franklin and Eastern Park, and then we move on. But then we come, those teams, we've got like team heads and stuff like that responsible. Right, so we're your
Ethan,
family.
if you're able to make it, it sounds like a great opportunity to bring some petitions with you.
Yeah,
So
so-
we can
So you can-
petition some people on the avenue.
Yes.
Can't hurt. Okay, cool. Let's oh, questions, yes.
Don't you have flyers? You'll be,
No, Dante, are you sure, Dante, did she send you the flyer?
She sent me the
Yes.
flyer.
okay, so you'll be circulating out in the community?
Yes,
For
it
persons
should
in the community who wants to
Yeah.
join, okay.
Yes, but also remember, right, we want people, but a lot of people that we can't control. So
You
even
want the right
although
amount
you
of
will,
people.
you'll be asking, you know,
You want it to be a thoughtful,
Yes,
constructive
yes,
group
yes.
of
You
people.
have flyers at the community board.
she already got it, so it will be.
Yeah, we'll put them
Okay. Any other updates or?
That's it for now.
Okay.
The
Great.
only other update really is the community fair, and we're planning on what we're gonna do, and if it's a cost, then it's stick it on here, so we should do that.
What day is the community fair this year?
What day?
Hasn't been set, but it's probably gonna be June 1st.
June?
1st?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we keep it moving?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. You too, if you wanna.
Sorry.
Feel free, if you wanna go have a conversation,
Sorry.
please, feel free. All right, so, I'll just talk a little bit about, the Public Safety Committee. I'm stepping in again, in absence of an existing chair, as the chair has resigned, going back to the month before this one. And so, there's a few things that are happening. So, one, we had some new applicants come. We also had some applicants at the last general board meeting who did not come, so they got tabled to the next meeting. So we're gonna talk about, I'll go through a list of kind of exactly who we are going to see. I'll start off with the folks who came to this most recent meeting, and then, we'll go to the SLA applications. Should be brief, who didn't show up to the general board meeting. Then I wanna talk a little bit about OCM and, kind of where we are with OCM. And then feel free to ask questions. Not gonna have all the answers, but I'll try my best and I'll be 100% transparent. So, first up is LaFrac Center at Lakeside. This has been an existing license for something like 13 years. These are just, no.
No.
This is the Lakeside Center, so the roller rink, the ice skating rink, it's also like kids go there and play, they have like splash thing, and then they have like a little food, almost like cafeteria, mini cafeteria, they serve drinks out of it sometimes as well. Mostly, the drinks are served for events, they have a license that goes, from, you know, like 10:30 in the morning through, when they close, which is usually 10:30 at night. I will say that Felice's furrowed brow probably represents that it's early, but it's inside the park. They've had that license. This is a renewal. I will say that some folks came and said it would be great if you could push back to 12, so that we could lose that hour and a half in the morning. Although they are pushing back against that, and so they're not pushing back against it. They want to come and argue their case for why they have that 10:30. So they're going to have a representative come and speak a little bit about that. So that will be a discourse that will be had. Just gonna name it. Okay, that's the frac. Up next is a new application from El Huasteco Authentic Mexican Restaurant. Yep, it is EL space HUASTECO. Huasteco. Yep, Authentic Mexican Restaurant Corp. That is located at 347A, 347B Empire Boulevard.
Between what and what?
Let me pull that up. It's
The
a,
corner of Lieutenant Bible.
I have that at the agenda in my bag.
It used to
Give
be
me
called
one sec, give me one
One
sec.
that's right there now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the building,
It used to
by
be-
the church. Okay.
Yes, it used to be called a reconnaissance mix.
Okay, good, I know.
Yep. what?
Wi-Fi password?
Uh,
Doesn't see anything
That's not
anywhere?
right.
No?
No, it's a long story,
Oh.
and it predates me. Like me and turns out, I had to fix this on.
Okay,
So you don't know it?
No, I know it, but I can't give it to you because it's someone's personal phone number.
Oh. And you can't change it?
We're gonna change it.
If you didn't tell me that, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Why did you tell me that it was someone's number?
well,
Too late.
giving you a reason.
Alright, weird.
Okay, so, El Huasteco Mexican restaurant,
So we just can't look things up?
I mean,
Cause there's no
we'll
Wi-Fi
fix
back
it.
here.
Yeah, we'll get it fixed.
Sure.
You know,
Okay.
yeah, let me just.
Oh wait, I got it.
cross-reference.
I see 347 in there. It's on the corner of Ocean.
it's not
Yeah.
sure, and I know you're not.
The
Yeah,
north
yeah,
corner.
it's between Nostrand and New York, you're right, yep. Okay, so, they're putting in an application for a wine, beer, and cider license.
Okay.
They are relatively close to, a church, which is why they are not putting in for a
Next to
full.
a church.
Next to, is that a question or a comment? An assertion. So they're not putting in for a full license, so no liquor served out of there. They've agreed to, move their license beginning time back to 3 p.m. Out of respect for these school hours, which seems to be a conversation that continues to arise. With regard to the SLA applications, I think it's something that we should probably talk about more. I don't fully understand it, but people seem to continue to raise it. It's not like,
Probably don't sell those for alcohol at lunchtime anyway.
also nobody's selling to
To
students. So like, anyway, that's a conversation for a later point. We're again approving an agenda, so moving through it, or what, rather, sorry, this is my report. Okay, so that's El Huasteco and LaFrac. Then we have some returners from previous months. So we have Union Street Pub at 835 Franklin Avenue. They are coming to talk a little bit about their noise reduction plan, since that was a point of contention, as I understand it, during an earlier meeting. Then we will have Antojitos del Patron Mexican Snacks at 52 Lincoln Road. They just didn't show up for the last meeting, so they got tabled. That's a renewal application. Then we have Aladdin Village at 1034 Nostrand Avenue, and they also did not show up, so they are coming back this month. So those are the 5 licenses that we will be voting on during this meeting. 2 folks who came recently, and 3 returners from another month.
Okay, so one person new is still.
There's 2 new. LaFrac is new, and El Huasteco is new.
And these people know that we're waiting.
They have been written strongly worded emails by none other than Mia Hilton. You have some. You're good?
Frank is
Okay.
the one in the park.
In the
park.
park.
They need a renewal.
Yes.
So Smorgas, this is a renewal. It's a renewal.
Oh, renewal,
Yeah.
I got
It's
it. Is there a renewal? He told
It's a
me.
renewal. It's been 2 years. There's a difference between LaFrac and Smorgasburg, just to like,
Okay.
yeah, separate those two. Smorgasburg was before us recently. LaFrac is returning for a renewal after 2 years.
I see.
Let me get this right.
Okay.
For the minutes.
Okay.
Union
Why is
Club
it only
is
2 years?
Why is it every 2 years? That's what the SLA tells us. Every 2 years. No, all applications have to come back every 2 years to get renewed. That's why we stay so busy.
Union Street is a renewal or?
Union Street is a application for new. It's new.
And Aladdin.
All of these should be on the last month's
Hold
agenda.
on, that's not what I asked.
Oh, okay.
Aladdin Village is what?
Aladdin Village is new. Cool.
That's this one.
Okay. All right. My bad. Keep me honest. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about OCM, which obviously has been risen a few times. So it's pretty clear that like there's a lack of clarity as to what's happening. I think both with the Office of Cannabis Management as well as the capacity and knowledge that exists within CCMA. We made a recommendation as a committee last month to stand up a subcommittee, and we voted on that. And it is the opinion of this board, I guess, that there, because of the City of Yes subcommittee, there is not enough capacity at this moment to actually execute on that. Although the committee voted on it. No, it's not a, this is a
Well,
question.
so let's just hear, you voted on it.
Yep,
Okay.
we approved it.
And you approved it, did you bring it to the executive committee?
Did we bring it to the executive committee?
Because if you voted on it, you bring it to the executive committee, because it's within your bylaws to be able to create subcommittees.
Yeah. Do we bring it to the executive committee? Do you know if that was the next step? I know that
What are y'all talking about?
the subcommittee for OCM.
I believe it was.
No,
It
I
was,
did not
it
see
was,
that.
it was briefly discussed, but it wasn't like brought.
Yeah, it wasn't
So
like on
if you,
purpose.
if you pass it in the committee, then it should be presented to the executive committee, and you guys should vote on it, whether or not we should have a subcommittee.
All right, well, let's get it on the agenda.
Well, I would just like to speak about that.
Go
I
ahead.
think that, you know, you guys have been going on too long with people not being able to get this license. It's very complicated and it does need a little bit more focus. You have the power within your bylaws to create as many subcommittees as you want. I'm not sure why you're restricting it to one committee, especially because there won't be the same members. The subcommittee
Yeah.
for one committee is the subcommittee for that committee. I can't imagine any crossover. And, you know, people need to get these licenses, but we also need to set standards. And you can't do that at your committee meetings. There's too many other applications. So I would ask that you would allow the subcommittee to exist. You can have on the subcommittee both members of the community board as well as residents. So it doesn't have to be restricted just to the members. And of course, there is the discussion that at least the chair should be a member. So I would plead with you to please allow the committee to exist so we can move forward and address the concerns of the community and get these licenses and.
Yeah, agreed, Ms. Boyd. I mean, that's kind of, that's why we voted. Ms. Raptopoulos offered to be on the committee, as did several resident members. We had a committee that was ready to go.
Okay.
The resistance to it, I will say, was at the discretion of the chair.
Yes, but it's up to the executive committee
I
to make that determination.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I believe that some of the reasoning provided was more around the availability of administrative support than it was around, the existing will or personnel on the community board to make up that subcommittee. So I'm just naming that. I'm not saying it was my decision. I'm not saying it was, again, the
Okay, well,
executive committee.
are we putting this on are we placing this as a motion on the floor for you guys to make a decision about this today? I would
Oh, for
hope
us?
so. You voted it in committee, correct?
We voted it in
Then you're
committee.
supposed to bring it to the executive board and vote on it.
It's not on our agenda today. I'm stepping in. I know.
And this is why we never get anything done.
It's certainly a part of it.
I mean, we've been talking about this for months
For
now, and
months,
nothing has
for
happened,
months,
it's
for
super
months.
frustrating. All these
Super
people are like
frustrating.
waiting in the wings, we're like,
Thank
we
you.
don't know anything, how can we not know
I'd
anything?
love to continue my report, and then
Okay.
y'all can feel free to dig into me or whatever you'd like to do.
No, it's fine.
I'm
Yeah, no, I
bringing
get
it to the
it.
executive committee. Why aren't you making a decision about this? This is the executive
You are the
committee.
chair for the committee, right?
Yeah, I'm the chair
So
for the
you can
committee. Yeah, I'm the
So you
interim.
can, and you can bring this right now in front of this executive committee. You have quorum, let's bring it in front of this executive committee and let's vote on it. I don't understand why you guys do not want to utilize your power.
Can I just, does the district office have a comment on the issue of administrative capacity?
Yeah, very much so. So Mia and Khalid do all the meetings, right? And so if you add another committee meeting, they have to also add another meeting, right? They're human beings, they have lives, right? So we try to figure out how we can balance that. Again, you know, if the board makes a decision, the board makes a decision. It's my job to figure out how we staff it. We'll figure that out. But, you know, I'm gonna stand up for my staff. That's what I'm gonna do.
So are you saying that they can't do it?
They can, if the board chooses to do it, we will do it.
Okay. So that ends that.
But your preference
But
would
the
be
preference
that
would be,
two subcommittees running at the same time is a lot. Part of also what we'd like to do maybe is City of Yes close to being wrapped up? Is
Right.
another question.
No.
I mean, I'm asking Suki.
I
mean,
think that the public process for the third part is beginning. I would assume that by June,
Some are,
Yes,
some are.
Right.
Yeah, there are principals
There are
that
some,
are-
there are some that have been.
just approving all of
Yes.
the licenses.
Yeah.
And some are not approving
Right.
all the rest.
And that's kind of like what
So we
we're
need
trying to
to-
pause rather than like say yes to folks or say no to folks right now. And we just wanna make sure that like we have all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed as we do this pause the right way
Yes.
and learn more. So,
If I
I
if
think
I
Um,
may
can
make a-
I-
government's
okay,
reaching out to
I'm gonna
us.
take, I'm gonna take 2 more comments on this and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, and we
One
also
and
have to
two.
take into consideration because the SLA license, many a times the board would have reject reject the application, and then the individuals, they would go to the state overlook,
Right.
whatever that we say, and then they
Yes.
would go into, so we have to be very, strong with
That's what I'm
them.
saying, you need to
When it
regulate
comes to
numbers.
that,
which is-
because
Not by your law.
if you, they
Say
come
that,
to
yeah.
us and then we says no, because when you look at the locations and everything, you weigh everything in a balance and you said, okay, no for this person, then they then overrides us and they go to the state. They are not coming to you now to say, hey, this person come to me, did they come to you? What was the verdict, what was your decisions? Right, and the SLA that does it, so right now you have to make sure you put down your foot and say, this has been happening, it's not gonna happen right
This is
now.
part of the value of us opening a dialogue with OCS as
So only
well.
go and say,
Right,
oh, hey,
okay,
this
I'm
person,
taking,
why
I'm
not
taking
me?
one last comment on this.
So I was just gonna say maybe OCM can come and do a presentation, so that.
OCM did come and do a presentation, we can invite them to come and do a presentation
And they
again.
always got a lot
Although
of
it
things.
was-
We need clarity on.
And I will say, again, that's something that can go to the subcommittee and something that the subcommittee can work with OCM on and make decisions on. At this point, I'm gonna move us along, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Suki, and I want to, I wanna basically add an agenda item that
Mhm.
offers, yeah, housing, but we're gonna get this done first inside of, as just a voting item. So, make a motion, to add a voting item to our agenda, for the general board meeting, to creation of a subcommittee for OCM. Okay? Just somebody needs to say something.
Second.
So moved.
So moved,
Wait,
so
hold on.
moved. So moved.
Who it was moved by?
Or just.
Brian Rice and seconded by.
I don't think I can second my own motion.
I second.
All right, Baker. Gotcha. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your flexibility. Thank you to folks in the audience for making suggestions. We can get there when we come together. I like that. Okay. We're gonna move on to, for a report for housing. Yes, Suki, would you like to give a report for your committee?
For housing.
Sorry, you were.
Oh, okay, you were, yes, okay, so, we had the developer from the Spice Factory, 962-972 Franklin Avenue, presenting. He is presenting an upzoning from the current R6A to R8A, which is doubling the allowed density, the allowed number of units. He's asking for a parking waiver to go down to half the usual required number of parking spaces. And it's going to be 14 stories. So the Botanic Gardens had previously said, there was a previous hearing about this over the summer. The Botanic Gardens had previously said that height was going to be a problem in terms of the shadows that would be cast on their greenhouses. So they presented a new, very slightly tweaked version that would not change the height or the number of units, but slightly change the design to kind of like step back some portions of the building, which they claimed would reduce the shadow. What we saw from the EAS was that there would still be a shadow of at least an hour in the height of summer, but the Botanic Gardens had not actually seen this newest version until they showed up to the meeting, so they did not have a comment yet. The other issue is in terms of the affordable housing, the AMIs, yes, it's MIH option 1, which we all understand as 60% of AMI, which at the new AMI levels for 2023 is $77,000 for a family of 3, which is just about the median income for our district. It's not low income housing by any means, but as a matter of fact, this 60% of AMI is not a straight 60%, it involves averaging around 60%. So some of the units will be at 130% of AMI and some will be at 40% of AMI. And I think there's just, generally there were a lot of concerns from both the audience and the committee that they didn't want these big tall buildings, that this area was zoned for a height limit of 7 stories, and they don't want the shadows, they don't want the tall buildings, so it's 70 feet. So that's either 6 or 7 story, most pre-war 6-story buildings are 70. But newer buildings that have like really short ceilings, sometimes it's 7 stories. So that was, people were very concerned about the lack of parking. Everybody kind of like started giggling when they said there was no need for parking because the area is well served by transit. So, yeah, there were just, like a lot of, it's clearly a controversial development. And then we had people, just concerned about, possible upzonings on Empire Boulevard because we do have another, application from the developer on the north side of Empire Boulevard, which is actually a split zoning. It's a split R6C8, but he too wants a gigantic upzoning of like 300%, to do a mixed commercial and residential building.
Where on Empire?
It's 7399 Empire, so it's right behind Evans Field. And then there were some people coming from Hawthorne Street between New York and Nostrand, also concerned about a new development there. And they're knocking down one of the houses. It's going to be very out of scale. They're building out significantly in front of the other buildings. And this is something I've seen like everywhere with a lot of these new developments, like especially on Linden Boulevard, where like it's all apartment buildings, but they all have the older buildings all have very deep front yards, and the newer buildings are like out by like 10 feet, which just, so they were really objecting to that and wondering what we could do to help them. And I think it's just, a general theme at many of our meetings that people are very concerned about what's happening to the homes in the community, like smaller buildings, like right on the corner. When you guys pass by, you probably saw that building that's growing out of the building on the corner. And so, what can we do? What can we do to help the people in our district? And so that's a lot.
I'm gonna take a few questions, comments. I saw,
Oh,
I just saw
wait.
Felicia's hand.
So City of Yes housing, okay, that is going to be, the EAS has been released already, the full zoning text, and it's gonna certify at the end of April, so we'll have 2 months to comment.
The EIS has not been.
Right, but it's gonna, I'm told by Dante, it's gonna certify at the end of April, so we'll have 2 months to comment, so we need to be ready to vote in June. I'm praying that it doesn't come before our June, that our 60-day clock doesn't hit before our June meeting.
Well,
Yeah, but there's an extension that you can get if that happens.
It's good to know.
This is part of the new
Okay.
2019 city charter revision.
Siggy, any last pieces on your report?
Oh, okay, so, as you all know, City of Yes is a proposed citywide zoning text amendment. It essentially proposes to upzone the entire city, but a big portion of the upzoning is going to fall on districts like ours, which have a lot of non-contextual R6 and R7 zoning. And the trade-off is supposed to be that we would get affordable housing in exchange for that. The problem is that there are various problems with it, but one thing is that it's a voluntary program, right? So if the developer chooses to build affordable housing, they get a density bonus. So I asked the Franklin Avenue developer, if they gave you this type of density bonus, would you take it? And he just flat out said, no, it wouldn't pencil out for us. So that's what I suspected all along. It's just more profitable for them to build condos as of right. But that was good to hear that this huge thing that's coming down, we may not see developers take advantage of it in the areas that have the most gentrification pressure. My feeling is that it would fall on the less expensive parts of the district where what they're proposing, the affordable affordable housing is really market rate housing. So
Thank you, Suki. We take a few.
So I would like to interject by
Felice and
saying,
Alicia.
Ethan from Botanic Gardens stated that, they, as you stated, as we've shown, they were not giving the layout until that point that they saw the different variation of that building. And he also stated that they have to do their own study, so he's not going by their studies. And a pre-war building, because I'm raised there, all of them are at 6 stories, they're not 7, okay? So we don't wanna give in, you like I said, you give an inch, they take a yard, so we don't wanna start that. So, as I heard Isha from the Botanical Gardens, they do not approve it, okay? And they will do their study, and they will write their letter to state they don't approve any changes, they want it to stay at the height it should be.
I think people need to be really clear, just because a developer comes to your community and gives you a diagram and says this is what it's gonna be, doesn't mean that that's what it's going to be. That is not the application in front of the Department of City Planning. So, he can come in and say whatever they want. Second, they didn't put in writing that it was option 1. They put it in writing that it's the workforce option. You cannot have 2 options. MIH says 1, you can choose one or the other. You cannot have both. So it's either option 1 or it's the workforce option. If they wrote down workforce option, then guess what option they're doing? Workforce option. And what's the workforce option? It's from $128,000 to $242,000. That's the workshop option. So if they come and tell you, oh, it's affordable, but we're doing the workshop, then people stop, they come and they lie. And that was a presentation of lies. They did the same thing last time. They had the application, 40 plus stories, they came to us with 30 stories. They did the same to the Department of City Planning. This is not the application. Don't give us 30 stories, we have 40 stories in front of us. So we need to be clear, it doesn't matter what they say, it's what's in the application. And the application is what matters, because that's the application that the city is going to be voting on, and that's what they will be allowed to do. I think it's horrendous that we can have a city, our elected officials, contemplate having this development with option workforce. You wanna come to us with $128,000 as a starting salary for 1 person? How many people in this room make that?
All of us do that.
Any of us make that?
I did.
I wish. Okay.
Well,
You do?
you're an outlier.
Yeah,
You're an outlier.
I'm an outlier. I'm just being honest.
He's an outlier, because it's not the majority,
Yes.
okay? And you're going into Crown Heights where the average median income is $50,000, not 77. We're not including Prospect Lefferts Gardens and that wealthier part of the community. You're gonna actually put in Crown Heights affordable housing that starts at $128,000? Does he look like he needs an
But
affordable housing?
It's not
Do
for
you,
us.
do you need affordable
I
housing?
do not.
Thank you. You have enough money to go out there into the market and buy,
It's a ridiculous number.
right, wherever you want to.
Because it's not for us.
That's a
It's
market,
not for
that's a
us.
market. I mean,
That's right.
that, you don't, he doesn't need,
I'm clearly an outlier in
that's right.
Yeah.
And that's the question
Fair.
I wanted to ask, because
That's
they
the
are
whole
coming
point.
in
of
the
it.
community, and whatever that's been done in the community is not in our favor. So I'm wondering what our elected officials, what are they doing? Because whatever that's coming in the community affecting the constituents, so these are the persons who voted for you. So how are you sitting
Yeah.
at the table, and how are you representing the people at the table?
Totally.
You know?
And
Well,
we can,
Dante wrote a letter, because this is what we asked of him. He wrote a letter, a public letter, you sent it to the elected
I did.
officials. Did anybody respond back to you yet?
A couple of electors are working on the dates.
They're supposed
Yvette
to be
Clark,
doing
yeah, so I invited up to all 3, which was essentially City of Yes, Subcommittee, ULERP Committee, and then the General Board. So it's 3 options like come before us, so we'll see.
So we'll see
We'll see.
what they have to say. Who were the electeds that responded?
Yvette Clark's office responded, they said she would be in session, so we're gonna have to figure that out. Working out, actually, I think that might have been out of the office, so
Okay, I wanna make sure, like, it's 8:18. I wanna get folks out of here so folks can get home and have dinner. I appreciate the conversation, it's important, and, wanna also kudos to Suki for keeping a close eye on this, and for, like, us as a community board, putting out strong, well thought out statements on these issues. Let's continue to do that. One question.
Yes, on Suki, when did your committee meet? Would you present a report with all of this, with all that numbers?
Okay. Oh my god.
Okay, I got that.
It's on our website.
Okay, good, I get it, I
Well,
get it.
Mia's working on the notes, you
Okay,
should get them to
April
everyone by
ninth.
tomorrow.
So we're not, I guess I have a quick question, we're not the
Just wanna
only,
make sure I saw it.
in our
Oh, yeah,
community board who's already experiencing this. Are we really, like, having meetings with other, we have committee board 17, we have the committees, are we coming together,
Yeah, but-
That's a
collaborate
question
together?
for
you know?
Suki first. Yeah.
Because together there
What
is
it-
strength, you know?
Mhm.
Because the same thing is happening in other communities.
Yeah.
And in other community boards, you have the 17 on the other side.
I'm happy to, you know, work with Dante to schedule a joint meeting. I can't, you know, personally go around to everybody else's meetings.
But a joint meeting could be
But I
valuable,
think a
so
joint
that's,
meeting
yeah,
would be
that's a
valuable.
good point.
It might be something that the elected officials might be willing to facilitate, you know, but I think that, you know, if you can reach out to your fellow district managers and the elected officials to suggest something, because I do really think that we're all facing the same issue. There's been a tremendous amount of development. The AMIs that are coming from 421A buildings are completely inappropriate. And by the way, that's still coming back,
Right.
and although this time it's a lower AMI, because the AMI levels have gone up for so much, it's really back to the same thing. 8% of AMI today is still $79,000 minimum income for a studio, which is what everybody was crying about last time, when it was 130% AMI.
Okay, let's continue to move. Suki, just confirming, you have no voting items for the general
No.
board meeting. Great, okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna roll out the agenda, we're gonna vote on it.
Oh, you guys have not talked about the election committee. This is April.
Yeah.
You have to agree to set up an election committee.
Yeah, so Fred has to vote on it.
Stand that up.
You have
General
to
board
agree to create that.
Yeah, we'll put it as a voting item.
And I will say that I think this executive committee should sit there and put some standards that the members who are joining the election committee do not run for election. We already have a litigation pending on that issue, and I would hope that the executive board would reinforce to anyone who's gonna be on that committee, and I'm not asking you to speak on that because you are subject to the litigation, but that you sit there and specifically tell people that they cannot use the election committee as a stepping stone to be elected as an officer. That there's a conflict of interest, and if they wanna be a part of the election committee, they cannot run. It was a standard process and policy that we had for years on CB9. It got laxed. I was not around. I came around, found it, I challenged it. So, I'm asking the executive committee to consider making that policy, so we don't have conflicts of interest. Are you guys gonna talk about that?
I'm not the executive.
No. I ain't on that.
Are you gonna talk about that?
I'm not supposed to say anything.
He's not supposed to say anything because he's subject to
I
litigation.
can't, I also
Waiting for
can't
someone
speak
else.
So
because
we're not
I'm in the
asking him,
litigation
I'm
as well.
asking for the
So-
other executive
Yeah, so
committee.
stop looking at me
All
and
of us?
talk to each other.
It's a way to avoid conflict of interest. If you are a member of the election committee, you have access to every board member. You can reach out to them, you can talk to them, you have access to the resumes, and it puts you at an advantage to anyone else who's running that may not be a part of the election committee. It has always been the policy of CB9 in the past to state at the meeting that if you're going to be a member of the election committee, you cannot run.
Okay, so what I would say on that, last week Monday, I went to an executive meeting. One of the persons who presided, there was an election and he was running. So just as what Ms. Boyd says, someone challenged him and said, if you were running, you couldn't be sitting there. So you can't be part of the process. So he had to step down. Okay, so it stands. If you're running, then you should not be part of the process. Okay?
And it should just be stated that
And,
you
so
are
at
going
the-
to be a part of the committee and you wanna do the election committee, that you cannot
You
run
cannot,
for.
you cannot run. So if you want to run for office, then you're gonna be part of the election of committee. And that's how it is. And it is something has to be made known just here, but because we have members, right, who usually select to be part of the committees. So it has to be made known to them as well, so they would know that if they intend to run, then they shouldn't be accept. When they support, they should accept to be part of it. Because it came to me when it was done, I said, oh, okay, I remember, this being discussed here as well. Because he said, hey, you're sitting up there, you're part of this, you can't be there. So if you're running, you need to step down. And he gave the problem, he just took a piece of it back and he stepped away. And somebody has replaced it. So that's what I saw, so it's,
Not my committees, that's what happens.
okay.
Everything I belong to. If you're running, you can't be on the nomination committee. If you're running for the vestry, you can't be on the nomination committee.
So that stands.
So normally what we do in the vestry is that the people who we know cannot run, right, are the ones sometimes that we ask.
Yeah.
Because every nonprofit I'm on, you
Yeah.
can't run, you can't
Yeah,
run,
that's how
you
we
can't
run.
be on the nomination committee.
It avoids
So that's a
conflict.
disadvantage.
So what's the next step?
Well, they
So
have
the
to,
next-
they have to create an election committee at this meeting, the next, on
board-
Thursday.
On the board meeting,
And then
yeah.
board
At the
meeting.
board
Yes.
meeting, and then they need to make an announcement
Yeah.
stating, however, this is a policy of the board, that if you are going to be on the election committee, that at no time can you run for a position.
So people volunteer to be on the election committee?
Well,
you do.
it used to be that way, but Fred tends to pick.
Last year, I think we volunteered.
I don't know,
I
it was
was there.
chosen, it was chosen.
How many people were on the election?
Seems like y'all wanna
Right, so is that
put this, can we
finalized?
So we
maybe
should-
stop
yes,
talking about,
let's
like
vote,
what's maybe
yeah.
happening, what's not, you wanna vote on something, then let's vote on it.
But we put it on the agenda, that it
Put
will
it
be
on
a
the
part of
agenda.
the nomination
Yes.
committee, so it's just an agenda item. But when we get there, there will be
If the,
a conversation that you can't run if you're on, but we.
Okay, so you guys agree to that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
great,
So that's what
okay.
agenda item.
Don't they, anything?
I'd love to do my administrative report.
Yep.
If we could, if we could. All right.
Chairman, oh, we wanna do it now, okay, yep,
Okay.
go ahead. Administrative report, if you could keep it as brief as possible.
It will
Bye
be
Felice,
brief.
thanks for
No,
being
no,
here.
I'm
Or just stepping away.
All right. So the Conflicts of Interest Board is proposing to amend its rule concerning the definition of substantial policy discretion as used in the city charter. The Conflicts of Interest Board will hold that public hearing actually tomorrow. If you plan to go in person, it will be held at Specter Hall, 22 Reed Street in New York. The public hearing will take place at 4 p.m. The Department of Buildings is proposing to amend its rules regarding the tax abatements a property owner can receive for the installation of solar electric generation system and electric storage equipment. The Department of Buildings will hold this public hearing online, April 22nd, starting at 11 a.m. You do have the ability to comment ahead of time, so you can comment like online.
Are they increasing that or decreasing it?
I don't have the answer for that. I will check. Okay. Department of Transportation is proposing to authorize the mayor's office of citywide event coordination and management to establish requirements and issue permits for events and activities held on open streets. Comments for this is due, they are due by the 22nd You can email comments if you would like to rules@dot.nyc.gov. Let's see. No, I just put that in. rules@dot.nyc.gov. The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection is proposing to add rules to implement local law 128 of 2021, allowing businesses to hold newsstand licenses. That will take place April 29th, starting at 11 a.m. You can do it online. You can also issue comments ahead of time. If you would like to submit a comment via email, you can submit it at rule comments, all one word, rule comments at dcwp.nyc.gov.
Dante, are these actually going to be for newsstands? Because as far as I know, they all closed years ago.
Yeah, I
because
know.
people don't buy it. Or is there something else that this is about?
I don't have additional information, but I think there's something else because newsstands are
Yeah.
They're still out there.
some, but not,
But
but not really.
Very few.
Only in like, man,
Yeah,
So
very
you're talking
few.
about boxes or actual like kiosks?
I believe the kiosk, but I will confirm it.
Okay.
And I'll send all this information out as well. Tomorrow, the New York City Council Committee on Small Business will hold a hearing at 10 a.m. in the committee room at City Hall via Zoom web conference. That specific committee hearing will be discussing the Vital Corridor storefront vacancy rates and trends. So that will take place tomorrow as well. Just an update on, this is for Felice, she's actually, okay, all right, well, this is Washington Avenue, so just a little update on Washington Avenue improvement project. Perfect. So, DOT did present before the board in November of 2021. It is to my understanding that DDC is working on a preliminary design for a plaza at Washington, Classen, where they were gonna cut that slip off.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to dig in on that.
Yes, please.
Okay, just give me some time, but I'm digging in on it. They said that this preliminary design will be completed by, no, I'm misreading the sentence. Has commenced the preliminary design for the plaza and will complete the project by the summer of 25.
And
So-
where's that?
I'll point it out.
It's,
Washington and
this,
Classen.
yeah, the
It's over
slip
there by
on Classen next to the
Oh,
International High
Aztec
School.
Heights.
Point-
Oh,
point it out.
yes, yes.
It's right here.
Yeah,
Right.
There's
Well, not
basically
park,
he's
near
right
park.
there.
there's
But
a tiny little below the park,
Oh,
there's a
yeah,
tiny
yeah,
little
yeah,
slab of concrete.
little tiny-
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
What they wanna do with it?
So I think.
That's unclear. They wanna make a change.
I think what they're referring
when
to
they
is people
presented
who
in
try to turn
21, they wanted to
this
close
way
that slip.
in here,
Yeah,
they
there's like
wanna
that
stop
stop
that from
sign.
being a thing.
Yeah,
They come down Washington and they try to take a
Right,
left
right,
there.
you're not supposed to turn
Yeah,
that
but
off.
they do.
Yeah, people do.
and people
And-
come up Washington and speed past
I
the
will,
school.
I will also say, yeah, it's a total blind spot. Like here, when you come up, like people will be coming up Washington and they'll decide to make a right turn onto Plaza.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's really dangerous because you can't see as a pedestrian because it's a corner coming
It's a
like
corner,
this,
right.
and people
Yeah,
just
but
shoot
when the
right
bus
up.
come up.
And like,
Right.
if you're not paying attention, you
Right.
can get nailed by a car right there.
Yeah, and you can't miss it when you
So they're planning on, one other question. We were told at that meeting that they plan on taking out the handball court of Robinson.
Mm.
Yes. And putting in a dog
yeah?
run,
What?
A dog? Ooh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
and Paul Robeson playground.
Jackie Robinson?
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
Oh, the
Jackie
developers.
Robinson.
The
Oh.
Jackie Robinson playground.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what the developer.
That's what the
did.
developers
Oh,
did.
okay.
Yes, but they
Right.
claimed
Yeah.
that this was the Department of, the Parks Department was talking about changing. The developers can't do that, it has to be done by the Parks
Yes,
Department.
that means someone went to the park asking, people went to
Yes,
the park
yes,
requesting
and
that.
they claim they want to take out the handball court that black young women play, teenagers, take it out and put a dog run? I mean, that's the only thing you could put there.
Right.
I mean, it's so tiny, I mean, you guys know what a handball is, right?
Yeah.
And what are the women supposed to do now? Lift weights?
So supposedly what this was about was they knew that the building was gonna cast hours of shadows on the playground. And so the proposal was to put artificial lighting there and I guess like move or replace the handball.
And put a dog run. Can you please ask the can you please inquire about this proposal?
Parks actually had come to the previous ULURP meeting when we first talked about it, and I was wondering why they were there, and I guess now we
So now you know. Yeah.
Well, we need to find out what that's about. Because putting in a dog run and taking out a handball court is not obviously for us.
Okay.
Now, going back to
let's con-
CrossFit, so we need to get, I'm sorry?
We need to get clarity on what the plan is. Understood.
Yeah, I would,
Yes, and we are trying to.
I will definitely get clarity on it, understand the bus issues.
All right, let's keep it moving, perhaps with less interruption. Can we just raise our hands if we have something to say rather than just hopping in and interrupting Dante? Continue, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to encourage everyone, if you would, you can go to the OCM website, sign up for their updates. If you sign up for those updates, they will send you the list of the newly approved licenses locations. So I definitely want to encourage everyone that's out there, so you won't be shocked where they pop up. Want to encourage everyone, if you're interested in speaking at public comments, participating in public hearings, a lot of these agencies use different websites. So one website that I have been using recently is NYC Rules. It has a lot of public hearings on it that you probably have never heard about. So I will continue to monitor that and NYC Rules. Yeah. Rules, yeah. We talked about the letter to elected officials, that went out. I will continue to work with those offices to schedule the elected officials. I did receive an email this morning that the Department of City Planning is going to be holding an information session for the housing opportunity tomorrow at 6 p.m. That'll be online, so I'll do an e-blast so everyone can see it in their email. And that's the finality of my
Thank you. Okay. We have one question from Suki. We'll take one question.
Did you or anybody else go to the Grand Army Plaza, traffic meeting and?
I did not. Fred was not in town. We did have, I think some of the members of our transportation committee did go. But
That's long. Can we have that conversation after?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Suki will have a question for you
Okay.
after we wrap.
I'm sorry, there was a 10 a.m. meeting tomorrow for economic development with who?
Economic development.
Yeah,
Oh.
there was something.
Let me look back through here. Oh, was it small business? Okay. The city council committee on small businesses is going to hold their public hearing tomorrow at 10 a.m. at City Hall in the committee room. Yeah. Oh, well, you can actually do Zoom. You can do Zoom. Yes. I'll send it.
Catering.
Okay.
Dante, may I switch it? Thank you. Pertaining to the, transportation, anything on the, pertaining to the speed bumps and stuff?
Yeah, no, not with Lefferts. I think that they're going to keep punting that. They know that we want that. I stood before Keith Bray and Councilmember Joseph, and we both were like, we want this. It doesn't look like DOT is going to do it, but we're going to continue to press.
But why
I don't.
Why?
I don't know. They keep saying, well, now it has speed cameras there, so that's that. And then like some of the street furniture prevents DOT from putting a speed reducer on that street. I know, because obviously the comment is the next block over.
Right.
So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay. All right. Let's keep it moving. Yep. All right. Up next, we are going to set this agenda that we've been discussing for so long. So let's move through the agenda, make sure that we have all of our boxes checked, and then we can do other business and adjourn. So, with our with our agenda, so first we will do a call to order, public session, right? public session starts us off. We'll do a call to order, rules of order, the basics. Siri thought I said something to her. Right, it happens. Okay. Then we will do acknowledgements. Or do we do SLA next? Yeah, well, no. We're gonna review the SLA, I'm sorry. Item number 2 would be to review the SLA. So we'll just go through the different applications here from the applicants. You have that list, you don't need me to repeat it? I can repeat it, but
I got it.
you have it,
It's
okay.
Lafayette Center,
El Huasteco, yep,
Union Street Public,
Yep.
Mexican Snaps and
Yep.
that, and all that.
yes.
The only one that's really
Okay.
moving is the Mexican.
Yep. Sounds good. So those are the 5 items that will be heard with regard to SLA. Up next then, we will do acknowledgements, which will be elected officials and elected representatives and agency representatives. We will also have public comment period, which will
The
be 30.
public comment period goes before the electeds.
You want?
Yes,
Yep.
before, it's important for the electeds to hear what we have to say.
That's understood. Alright, so we'll move that. So public comment period will go before the electeds.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So after we do acknowledgements, then we'll move into the business session. So we'll start out with a roll call. We'll move through an easy one, which is the approval of the general minutes, January 20th. March general minutes. Then, I think we can move through some relatively easy approvals. So let's do the approval of the June 4th event, for the Economic Development Committee. The June 4th Economic Development Committee event.
That's not really.
You wanna move it into voting
Yeah,
items?
move it into
Oh,
voting,
okay,
yeah,
alright,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, we'll move it into voting items. Okay, alright, fine. So then we'll do committee reports. Yep. Then we'll do a district. You with me?
Administrative.
Okay, then we'll do the administrative report, so the district manager's report. Then the chairman's report. And then we'll move into the voting items. Now we'll list out the voting. There we go. Okay, thanks for keeping me honest. Do you wanna do
No,
it?
we did one last week.
Yeah. Does it feel important to this audience that we make time for a treasurer's report?
We also send it to
You know,
email.
we send it out via email. I wanna, let's make
We
sure
have a
that
lot to go over.
we have a lot to go through. Okay, so voting items. SLAs, yep. The 5 items that we just talked about. Then we have the voting item of an election committee. So let's make sure that we get that off the ground. Then we have the Economic Development Committee. They're voting on for their event on June 4th. Then we have the Transportation Committee, which has 3, what do they
Can we
call it?
present one, the Empire Boulevard
Yes.
bike lane, and table the other 2?
Sure, okay.
Thank you.
So we're just gonna vote on the Empire Boulevard bike lane extension from Bedford towards the
Yeah.
park.
I'm not,
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
And then, just making sure that
Fire
I'm not-
And then the
Right.
subcommittee,
the subcommittee, yes, thank you, the subcommittee. So, vote on the subcommittee. Do we need to approve the fair, by the way? Probably.
Probably, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll look, yeah. Yeah, at the community fair
Okay.
too.
OCM subcommittee from
The OCM subcommittee from the SLA, yep, that's what we're going, thank you. We're also going to put the approval of the fair. Ethan, do you want we should put the $300 for Ethan's as well? Or does that need to be
That
voted
doesn't,
on?
need- yeah,
Doesn't
that,
need to be
that
voted on.
300 would be,
You'll get it sorted out.
you gotta fill out a form.
Approve the community.
I will get that from some.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll approve the community, the vote for the approval of the community resource fair. These are all our.
how are we
voting
gonna
fair.
get through all of this?
Well,
Wow.
with well-managed collective
to it.
will to move things forward and
Maybe
to be as
actually-
brief as possible with our
Yeah.
comments.
And
I
first
think
we
we
can-
all, we all want to say a lot, which is, I understand, but, you know, we need to get out of that school on time.
Yeah.
And we need to get the business done, and so, you know, to Ms. Boyd's point of, sometimes we don't get
school,
things done, and
Since
we
our
sometimes.
speaking times are a little more
That's
strictly
the
sometimes, you know?
armory.
Okay, let's wrap up the business at hand, speaking of, which would be, then we need to do adjournment. And, I don't-
Any other business?
is there any other, so, no other business for this one,
Yeah.
for the general board meeting?
I will not.
It is an agenda item here, so we'll call and ask if there is other business.
Okay,
Suki
so-
raises a menacing hand.
This is, you know, not an agenda item, but, just the issue of like joint meetings between committees. I don't know that there's a procedure for handling this in our bylaws.
Can I actually pause this and can we vote to,
Yes.
can we
Oh,
vote to
sorry,
approve
go
this
ahead.
agenda first, and
Yeah.
then we'll move on to
Yeah.
other business? That's my fault, I moved this forward. So, can I make a motion to approve the agenda? Seconded,
Pretty much.
I made the motion, it was seconded, and so.
I'll call it, maybe I'll call it.
Whatever comes in.
I would like you to be part of the business.
So we'll hear Suki first, and then we'll hear
So,
Ms. Boyd.
the question has arisen amongst, you know, like a couple of us a couple of times about joint meetings, and I'm always happy to invite people to my meetings or vice versa, or work on scheduling a date, but when it comes to like business, like voting issues and so on, I don't think there's anything in our bylaws that talks about creating joint committee meetings, like on the fly, right?
That's fair. Well, at the end of the day, the board would have to vote on it, so.
Right.
Maybe we should make it an item of discussion for our next executive.
However, you know, the one kind of like standing joint committee that we've not really ever convened in the past is, that's sort of standard, is 197A. You know, we discussed that with Pat last year, and the majority of us were not keen on that because it comes with certain disadvantages. But there are other structures like 197C, which is a community plan, and the idea is that this brings together all of the committees to discuss a plan for the district. However, it is a very long process. I don't expect anything to be done on it this year, but I'm just putting it out there, you know, for consideration.
I think that discussion should be had at the land use committee as far as even proposing for 197C plan, especially since we've seen 197C plans turn into rezoning applications that then wind up. Williamsburg did one, for example. And now
Williamsburg did a 197A. We have
they
not
did a
seen-
197C.
No, they did a 197A.
No, they did a 197C. Alright, but regardless, I think it should be pushed at the land use committee and discussed at the land use committee before you proposing it to the executive committee. If there's a land use issue.
But 197A is a
It doesn't
standing
matter,
committee that involves
it's
all of
still, it's
the
still a
committees.
land use issue and
So
you have to
that's
talk to your land use
the,
committee.
I mean, Suki, can I ask,
Yeah.
what would you like to happen as a point to this discussion?
So, you know, I guess my first question to you is whether, was the question about whether there is a procedure for joint committee meetings. My second, you know, comment is that the one procedure that I know of for joint committee meetings is essentially an all-committee committee, which is 197A. I
Why
think
would we
it's-
stand this up?
What?
What would be the purpose of trying
So
to
the
execute
purpose of
this?
a 197A
For
committee.
the context of our current community board.
Is,
Why are we even discussing?
district-wide planning, right?
It's a district-wide
So,
rezoning.
I don't expect, like I said, I do not expect, anything to happen this year, just because there's like only 2 months left.
Can I ask one second? When was that 197C plan made? Do you know? When was the 197C plan made? Do you know?
In Williamsburg,
Yeah, when, what?
2007.
Oh, 7.
2007, they worked on it for 7 years.
I don't think that we need to argue who
No, I was
passed
just-
what, yeah, I
I
understand.
mean, if you wanna learn
Okay,
about it,
if
it's
that's what we're asking is for a
But
point of
again,
clarity.
it's still an issue that needs to go in front of the land use committee, because it has not been brought up at the land use committee, because that is a serious undertaking. It's not something
It
that
does
you
sound like a
just-
serious undertaking, which is why I'm saying that, is this a conversation that we wanna have right now?
No.
Or is this a conversation that you wanna bring to our next executive committee meeting?
You know, I guess that the next executive committee meeting is fine too. I just more wanted to confirm, like, whether joint committee meetings were like going to be a thing, or whether
I would say that without,
better handled like another way or something like that.
it's a good question to present, I'd say that, like, honestly, in Fred's absence, like, I would encourage us to push that conversation to later.
Yeah.
So, the point is well noted, and something that I think it's important for us all to be aware of, to start thinking about.
Right,
And I think we should put it on an agenda so that we're all prepared to have the conversation,
okay,
okay? Because it's new to me, right? So I don't wanna
right.
share my opinion on anything that I don't know anything about. So I think, if you could start an email chain about this maybe,
Right.
send it to the board
Okay.
office, so we could do a little bit of that would be helpful. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good
Okay.
to me.
Thanks, Suki. Ms. Boyd, I know that you wanted to be a part.
I'm just saying that, again, I believe that this is an issue for the land use committee. I think that if you're going to propose something drastic with that, the land use committee, I don't think the city has the authority to sit there and start a conversation via email about something that's supposed to be public. So let's be clear about that.
Yeah, you wanna take, you
cannot
wanna,
have conversations via email about a proposal of this size and what she's talking about. Maybe most of you do not understand what she's talking about, but I do very seriously.
so I understand that your constructive suggestion then would be for us to bring this to the land use committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then they come to us and they.
Thank you. Let them have a discussion. They are the land use committee.
Understood. That
experts.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Does that close our other business?
Yes.
I make a motion to,
I just want to say something quickly. Based on time at the school, we have persons who come to the committees, and some person has an issue. They ask them to come to the board to present it, and 10 persons go up and they complain about, they present the very same thing.
Yes.
And then we have to be at that place where we have somebody come in, they could have 100 persons with them, but one person representing that person, because we will lose our rights at the school if we continue like this.
so we're not at the school this time, we're at the Armory. I hear your point, but our meeting will be at the Armory this
But
month.
your army still put
Yes.
us up too.
Yes.
But
Right,
they're
we
gonna
have
kick us
put us
out
up too.
anyway.
Last time we had the slump, we were still out.
So-
Aubrey has rules and regulations
Yes.
as well.
The Armory
Yes.
has rules and regulations as well. Let's
Yes.
look into what they are. If
10
we need,
o'clock.
the point is, we also need to be, like, actually hold the 30 minutes for public commentary to 30 minutes, and we need to start our meetings on time. Cause it's not respectful of everyone's time. When we start at 7:10 or 7:15 or whatever time, start at 7 o'clock. Roll call doesn't need to happen until we get to the business session. So let's do business during the business session, and let's start our meetings on time at CB9. Okay? Fair enough?
Instead of info
Agree.
one.
And
instead of
finish
in-
and leave.
Yes, instead of it.
One, just like, so, I'm gonna call for our meeting to adjourn.
Yes, I do.
I second.
Seconded, so moved.
So move.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, thank you. Woo.
I'm gonna put forth